better second life.
People don't get tested. If you don't get tested, you're part of the problem.
What was once thought to be a death sentence is now being considered a second chance at life. Who are these people? Where do they come from? Where do they live? Just few of the questions being asked by viewers like you who want to know. But in reality, do you really want to know? There are your bankers, your clergymen, the friend next door, your brother, your sister, and yes, even your mother and your father. Here's my point. With Louisiana ranking number 1 once again for AIDS and number 3 for HIV, don't you think it's time to say enough is enough? You might think because you don't do drugs, you don't have unplanned sex, and you definitely won't be drinking any breast milk, which are just 3 of the ways to become infected with HIV, that this problem really doesn't concern you. Well, these are real people with real case situations that has changed the lives of many of the people around them. This is a very sensitive topic that we will be dealing with in the upcoming weeks, so we will treat it with the utmost respect as well as our participants.
I am the pastor of Real Life Ministries that we started December of 2012, and I'm the CEO of the first minority HIV/AIDS organization in Baton Rouge AIDS Society, and as of date we're 14 and a half years. We have sustained our presence in Mid-City Baton Rouge for the almost entire time that we've existed. People don't understand the difference between HIV and AIDS. We have found that our level of education in our community has not gone down, but pretty much at the same level. See, there's a difference between education and awareness. Many people are aware today that Baton Rouge is number 1 in the country with the highest rate of AIDS cases. Many people are aware of that. Many people are aware that we have been number 2 in the country with the highest rate of AIDS cases. Many people are aware that you can get HIV from having sex. Many people are aware that if you have protected sex, it creates a barrier against HIV, even to the extent to know that you need to use a latex condom. The problem is we don't understand. See, there's a big difference between knowing something and understanding something. If I teach somebody that 2 + 2 = 4 and I place it on the board and they look at it, they will know what 2 + 2 equals. But if I don't teach them how to add 2 + 2, why it equals 4, then when I give them 3 + 5, they're stuck again. So our problem with education in our community is that we know but we don't understand. What I'm saying is that when we talk about protection, and even today when we educate people on condom use, people know that a latex condom is a barrier against HIV, but they don't understand what do I need to do to make sure that condom works. What are the steps that I need to take? Where can I store it? You can't store a condom in your wallet, your glove compartment, your purse, and things like that. Most people don't know that because the different temperature changes breaks down the lifespan of the condom. Then when you go to use it, the condom breaks. And what could happen is a new infection. So even though we have more people using condoms by not understanding how to use condoms, we still have more infections. It's encouraging that people are getting tested more. The unfortunate thing that even in our state, most of the people that's getting tested are still getting tested when they have symptoms, as far as the ones that identify as positive. You know, people that get tested just to know their status, you're not getting as many positives as individuals who might show up in the emergency room because they have symptoms. As a matter of fact, 34% of the individuals who test positive for HIV in the state of Louisiana find out within 6 months that they have an AIDS diagnosis. So that means as soon as they found out they have HIV, they also found out they're at the senior level. They're at the last part of it. Because this virus can be in your body for over 20 years, you might not know if you're infected. So then you're walking around and you're feeling great and you're having sex and you're engaging in relationships, and it doesn't even matter if you have one partner. And the next year you change that partner, the next year you change that partner. So you had 4 partners in 5 years. Doesn't seem like a lot. But if all those partners go on and have partners and you infected all 4 of them, then we're spreading the virus. So we are finding out that we're infected when we start having a cold, when we start having diarrhea, when we start having symptoms that just don't go away. And we try to say, well, what's wrong? I need to go to the doctor. And the doctor recommends an HIV test. And that's when you find out for the first time. Early detection is a key. Not only is it a key to help that person's life, but it's also a key to helping prevention. It's already been shown that a person that is on medication will have more preventive methods because of the medication. It reduces their ability to spread the virus to another person. Because it gotta start with each person. You think it's bad that Baton Rouge is number 1? Do you know your status? No, I don't. Then that's why Baton Rouge is number 1. You are part of the problem, walking around here thinking that you don't have anything. Once you know your status, the Black AIDS Institute say there are 5 things you need to do that a community mobilizes around the prevention of HIV. 5 things you need to do. The first thing is get tested. The next thing is we got to use condoms and use them properly. Understand proper use of condoms. Don't walk around here like one guy at council said, I'm part of the naked-headed bandits. I said, what does that mean? I refuse to use a condom. This is 2013. Louisiana number 1 in syphilis, number 2 in gonorrhea, number 3 in chlamydia, and you walking around here saying you refuse to use a condom. We have to use some condom sense. Hello? The other thing we need to do is talk about it. Like we say in social media, talk about it. Talk about it with your friends. Call them up. Ask your friend if they've been tested. The next thing we have to do is educate ourselves. You know, we have to not just know we're number 1, not just know Baton Rouge has a history, but understand what are the dynamics of our community that keeps placing us in these categories of number 1. Let's be number 1 in education. You know, when we look at funding, I'm going to tell you, most of our support comes from God. That is unquestionable. There is no way that Baton Rouge AIDS Society would be open 14 and a half years, especially with the most recent budget cuts. So every time that, you know, with the vision comes provision, there's always some door that opens up that allows us to continue to provide free HIV testing in the community. About 3 years ago, the Office of Public Health, because of their cutbacks, had to only designate one agency. Actually, it's been about 6 years ago, one agency to be funded to test throughout Region 2. That's from St. Francisville, Jackson, Clinton, all the way to Gonzales, Geismar, Donaldsonville. One agency funded. At a time where we're number 2, number 1 in the country with the highest rate of AIDS cases, we're number 2 with the highest rate of new HIV infections. And instead of us moving forward and doing more, budget cuts have put us in a position to do less. And what I mean by that is that we have a mobile unit that, if you value all the stuff that's in it, is probably around $40,000. About 5-6 years ago, that mobile unit used to go into the community 2 or 3 times a week. Now it goes out 2 or 3 times a month, and sometimes worse than that. Currently, we have some support from the Louisiana Public Health Institute. They gave us a small grant for $10,000, but you're talking about an operation that would cost $85,000 to $100,000 to fully function. So it's not really a band-aid over what we're trying to do, but without the funding, we wouldn't be able to do anything in the community. A lot of support comes from community partners that have stepped up and said, we want to help you out. Delta Sigma Theta has helped out Baton Rouge AIDS Society the whole 14 years. It's one of our African American sororities in the community. Alpha Phi Alpha is a fraternity in the community, a black fraternity. They have helped us out for many years. Without those type of contributions, people would go untested. You know, when we look at statistics and when the virus first came, it was more identifiable for white gay males. And the thing about that is that when it was identifiable to white gay males, people in the white community did something about it. You saw AIDS Walk and AIDS Foundations, and I've seen a man write a $30,000 check in this community as a donation. But when the tables turn, and now over 80% of the infections are African Americans, when the table turned in a country where blacks only make up 14%, but yet make over 50% of infections in different categories, then a lot of those checks stop coming. We have a high infection rate among African Americans, and we can't just identify that as, well, these are the individuals going to the clinics, because doctors have to report too. And some may fail to report, but everybody's not failing to report. It is what it is. The highest rate African American females in our country. You're talking about 14% of the people make up the country as African Americans, but you're talking about a 56% infection rate of AIDS cases with black women. You talk about black men, as black people make up 14%, but black men who are gay make up 50% of all the AIDS cases in gay men. Something's wrong. You know, so those messages are not, and it's not strong enough in our community. We're not taking that same stand that other individuals are taking, even in the gay community. We had some members of the gay community come in to get tested, and they were not white. I mean, they were not black, they were white. And they were getting tested only because of the social requirements in their network. They weren't getting tested because they felt that they were at risk. They're in a monogamous relationship, but the reason they were getting tested because in their social network it is deemed that everybody get tested once a year. We need some standards like that. If you're going to be in a community, or if you're going to be in a relationship, or you're not going to be in a relationship, then what are you doing? Because you know you're putting yourself at risk. See, we don't want you to get infected. So the best thing is not to keep putting yourself at risk. You can't blame all these other things. HIV is not something that the government is slipping into milk or water and saying that we're going to infect everybody. We can't say that it's the same thing as syphilis when they studied the African Americans to see what the long-term effect would be with syphilis with the Tuskegee experiment. We can't say that the government is doing the same thing with HIV just to see what the long-term effect is for HIV, because there is medicine available. There is testing available. These resources are available. But the question is, are we using those resources? Sometimes we test people and their result is not what they had hoped for. Age doesn't have anything to do with it. We've tested people as early as 14 to tell them they're HIV positive. 16, 17, 21. Young people are showing up HIV positive as well. Older people are showing up HIV positive. One thing that we do at Baton Rouge AIDS Society is that when we have a testing and counseling and referral program, we're not going to let you be out there by yourself. We serve as advocates and ambassadors for each client that gets tested. And it's an unfortunate thing, but it's a reality. If you don't know what you're supposed to do, you can't get as much stuff done. You can tell a person to go to a certain organization and get this service and get that service, but how you know they're really going to do it? You know, if you just found out you're HIV positive, do you even feel like doing it? You just found out you're positive. Do you even feel like sharing that information with another person besides the one that just told you? So what we do is to enhance that transition, we have a person on staff that does case management that works with that client. There's no cord to cut. We're connected to that client as long as they want to be connected. So we share the information with them as to what agencies provide services for HIV positive clients, whether it be housing, medication, transportation, all the needs that they might have to continue their life. And the thing is that everybody don't move at the same pace. So they might want to visit different organizations to find out which one they want to keep their services with and start providing services. These services are free, but they are going to be limited. Because again, with the budget cuts, it's not like there's this pool of money that every time a new client comes, there's just whatever you want. There are ceilings as far as how much they can support each client. So we have to talk to clients about additional types of support like food stamps or other housing services that might be available, clothing, other needs that they might have, employment, because, and you got to talk to them about who needs to know. You don't need to put on an application that you're HIV positive. If they have that on the application, you don't have to check yes. So that's another way just to discriminate who's going to be part of that team. You might not want to tell your mama that you're HIV positive because she might not be at a place where she can support you, like when you say, I'm going all the way for college or I'm going to join the military. And you say, I'm HIV positive, it's like, how did you let this happen? So there's too much negative stigma to talk to anybody about it. But there are services out there, and again, what we always encourage is that early detection and proper treatment. You could be HIV positive and have such a strong immune system, you don't even need medication. That's a decision that has to be made with you and your doctor. And sometimes we've gone with the client to the doctor because sometimes doctors can speak in a language that the client will feel threatened because of their level of ignorance. Not stupidity, they just don't understand what the doctor is saying because of the types of words that he's using. So we would go with them to help them understand what is being told to them. You don't have to take medication because the medication is highly toxic. Once you start the medication, it's not like a birth control pill. You can't take one pill one day, skip a day, and then double up a couple of pills. You can't do that. That medication, one of the side effects with medication is death. So we don't want people taking medication if it can kill them. We want them to take medication when they're ready to commit to taking medication. And that's what the doctors want as well. So no, it's not as bad as it used to be because medication is better than it used to be. Back in the days, a HIV positive person would take 40 to 50 pills each day. And then if any of those pills gave you side effects like diarrhea or fatigue, then the doctor had to give you prescriptions for those problems. So you're a walking medicine cabinet. Now you have medicine that you could take 2 to 4 pills a day. That's a big difference. So because you have to take less pills, it's more manageable. It's not like, this thing is a walking time bomb. It's more manageable. People are looking better. There was another thing that was a stigma. He looked like he got something. The wasting. Losing all your weight and stuff and with no reason. You just lost all that weight real quick and looked like somebody just sucked all the inside out of you and all these, everybody looking at somebody thinking they have something. Now you see somebody that's HIV positive, and we have a Keeping It Real crew at Baton Rouge AIDS Society, and we have people that are spokespersons for HIV that are infected. And we'll go to high school and we'll go, to health fairs and do programs, and people don't believe that those women are infected. We have a clip we show of this young lady from another country, gorgeous, a singer. She's HIV positive. And people they look at the clip and they pick her out, they want to have sex with her just by how she looked. And, she was on trial in the clip for willingly spreading the virus by having unprotected sex with multiple men. So you can't look at somebody and say it's all good. And I don't care how long you've been knowing them, you can't say, well, I know her. The only way you could tell somebody is HIV positive is from having them take a test. The first thing is to our pastors out there. Let's lead by example. If you're afraid to talk about sex and HIV from the pulpit, call me. I'll do the sermon. I'll talk about sex. I'll talk about HIV. Because sex is in the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. So if we're afraid to talk about stuff that's in the Bible because of what members in the congregation that's been there for years might say or might do, because they might leave the church and some of the tithes and offering might go with it, then we're saying we're afraid to do what God is calling us to do. And the Bible says that don't lean into thy own understanding. If you reject knowledge, I will also reject thee. My people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. Then that means that if he calls us to do something, we're supposed to do it. But if you don't want to do it, call me. And then when I get through and I didn't put it on people's heart to get tested, to know their status, to watch what they're doing, to let them know what HIV is, and they still don't like it, when they complain to you, you can tell them, I don't know who that is, but he won't be there anymore. Because I'll take the fault. I'll educate another person. I'll tell the facts. I'll make people think about why they're part of the problem. And the second thing is, get tested. How can we walk around today in 2013 and not know our HIV status when they have free places to get tested? And even if you have money, we have over-the-counter tests at Walgreens, Walmart, Rite Aid. It doesn't matter. Any pharmacy just about carries an over-the-counter test for $40. If you don't want that, spend a little extra money. Call Baton Rouge AIDS Society, 923-AIDS. We do 24-hour testing. 24/7, 365. Any day of the week, you can get tested. Even at your own home, you can get tested. So what's the reason? Because we're number one? Because you're scared of the stigma? Because you just don't want to know? But all those reasons can cause you to get a late detection. And if you are HIV infected and you spread it to other people, or you HIV infected and you don't get the treatment in time, then you're not just shortening your life, but you're shortening the life of the people that love you as well.
We hope that you've enjoyed watching the final installment of Living with HIV in Baton Rouge. If you have any questions or comments, please contact the Baton Rouge AIDS Society at 923-AIDS.
How you were there for me, and I can say, oh yes, never would have made it. I never could have made it without you. I would have lost it all. But now I see that you were there for me. And this is what I can say. I'm stronger. Anybody stronger? I'm wiser. I am better. Yes, I am. So much better. When I look back on all the things he brought me through, I can lift my hands and say, Lord, I thank you for bringing me through. Is that your testimony? Come on, help me say, never would have made it. Never could have made it. Never could have made it without you. I would have lost my mind, but God, you kept my mind, and I gotta give you glory and honor and say I never would have made it. Oh, never would have made it. I never could have made it. Never could have made it without you. Oh Lord, we've got to say thank you, Lord, for all that you have done for us. Oh, and we can say I'm stronger. I am wiser. I am better because of what I've been through. I'm better. Oh God, I want to say thank you. I gotta say thank you for all that you have done for me. Oh, it was you that